Check out the slim version of Zion Williamson. What's that going to mean for the rest of the NBA and the Pelicans? Plus, Joe Dumars talks about the trade that left the rest of the NBA scratching their heads and calling it the worst move of the offseason. I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Basketball Bulletin Media Day. For a number of teams around the NBA has kicked off most of the league. It's taking place on Monday, but a bunch of teams did check back in today. Those who are going to be playing overseas in preseason. So we're already getting some big-time NBA news. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. We'll keep you up to date on everything. Check out Zion Williamson. Good Lord. What a difference. He changed his training program over the summer. We've been talking about Slim Luka all summer long, Slim Joel Embiid as well. And now check out Zion. This is what he had to say.
We came up with a plan, and from boxing to working out on the football field a lot to just different random workouts. And during that time frame last year, I really felt a shift in my body to where I would look at him and go, dude, it feels good to feel good. I haven't felt like this since college, high school, just where I can walk in the gym and I'm like, I feel good. We came up with a plan.
Look, this time of year, we're always on muscle watch, right? And for apparently this year, it's more weight loss watch here with these players. Everybody comes in to media day, to training camp, saying the same thing. They're in the best shape of their lives. They can't wait to get ready. They're excited for the season, all these things. But Trey Murphy says Zion Williamson is slimmer than I've ever seen him in the summertime. He's in a really good place mentally. You could see all the images going around. The man clearly has lost some significant weight. Now, the big question is, will that keep him on the floor? And obviously, this matters a ton for the New Orleans Pelicans because when he's on the floor, Zion Williamson is unquestionably one of the very best players in the NBA. He is absolutely unstoppable. He is incredibly efficient. When you see his finishing at the rim, he is so strong, so fast, averaged 25 points, 7 rebounds last season to go along with 5 assists. Man, the Pels could certainly use that as well. And 57% from the field. Zion Williamson makes the Pelicans a very different team, but the problem, of course, comes into the injuries. He's only played last season 30 games. The season before, 70. You'll take that. You would love that if you're the Pelicans. 70 games played the season before, but before that, 29 games. Before that, didn't play at all due to injuries. Then 61 games, then 24 games. He has missed more of his NBA career than he has actually played. So really, look, the weight loss is great. He looks great. I'm sure he's going to be even quicker out there on the court. The big question, though, is does it keep him on the court? Is that what the weight loss provides? If it does, then it makes the Pelicans significantly more of a threat in the Western Conference. I'm not saying they're suddenly a real playoff contender or something like that, but it makes the Pelicans on night in, night out basis a much more difficult team to deal with, especially when we're already hearing that Herb Jones, that Trey Murphy, they're ready to roll. They're going to be good to go to start the season. Herb Jones was talking about how excited he was to be back in New Orleans, getting that contract extension. So I do think that when we look at the Pelicans, if they have a healthy Zion Williamson, they did add Kevon Looney. They made the trade for Jordan Poole. I think this team can be a challenge on a random Wednesday night in January if Zion is healthy. Again, I wouldn't predict them to be a playoff team, but could they sneak into that play-in consideration? If Zion plays 70 games, he is that good. It would not shock me if they found themselves in that territory. However, they also made what was considered by NBA execs, coaches, and scouts to be the worst move of the summer. Joe Dumars trading next year's pick, a pick swap for next year, to the Atlanta Hawks so that they can move up 10 spots and draft Derek Queen this year. That move immediately came under fire, especially as what's projected to be a non-playoff team of the Pelicans to give up what would project to be a lottery pick was seen as a big mistake. So here's Joe Dumars addressing that topic here and whether or not this now means that the Pelicans must make the playoffs this year. Definitely raise some eyebrows with this comment. We'll get to it next.
Sleeper is the #1 fantasy sports app. It pays to know sports. Pick more or less on top players. Your first pick is on us, so start winning now. Play in Texas, Georgia, Minnesota, and 27 more states. Pick anytime across all sports, pregame or live. Over 10 million players are already on Sleeper. Make your picks count, Score up to 1,000 times your cash. Join today, get up to $100 credit using code Bulletin. Call your shot on Sleeper. Download now.
All right, here's Joe Dumars being asked about the trade and if that means that they need to make the playoffs.
Question. When you make a trade like you guys did on draft night, do you think that kind of sends the message we expect to be a playoff team when you give away your first round pick the following season?
No, I'm just trying to build a deep team. Like I just said, I've not put that expectation on anyone. I expect us to be competitive every night. Before you can get to playoffs, before you can get to an amount of wins, the first thing you have to establish is, man, we compete hard every single night. Before you can start talking about numbers and play-in and playoff, if you don't establish that in your building first, you're just talking. You're just talking. You're just giving quotes out at that point. So for me, it's a process of establishing a hard, competitive playing team every night, and then we'll get to the wins and losses. That would be if we made a trade or didn't make a trade. I'd be saying the same thing here. So the trade is inconsequential to the belief of what I'm talking about. You get what I'm saying? So I'm not. It wasn't like, okay, we made this trade, I expect to make the playoffs. That's short-sighted to me. You got to build something deeper than that.
Yeah, look, easy, right? Yeah, you do have to build something deeper than just one trade, right? You absolutely do. You have to have the ability to have a team that every night is going to come in and they're going to compete, and you have to have that culture that's established. That's going to be the most important thing for any team. They have to have this culture of competition established. However, if you're going to make a trade like that, you damn well better feel like you are going to make the playoffs, or at least you've got a really good chance of doing so, or that this trade is going to put you over the top and get you to make the playoffs. Everything's a gamble in the NBA. We're not sure what's going to happen. Teams can outperform expectations. They can underperform. We don't know for sure what's going to happen, but your best educated guess, if you're going to make a trade like that and you're going to give up potentially a lottery pick, your best guess should be, we're a playoff team. We project to be a playoff team. And I don't know anybody that looks at the Pelicans right now. Obviously, a healthy Zion might change things, but that looks at the Pelicans right now and says this is a playoff team. So you're talking about giving up a lottery pick. Most likely, that's what we're talking about here. So while Joe Dumars is right that, yeah, you need to set this expectation. You need to set this baseline of competition, this compete that you're going to have on a night in, night out basis. Yes, that's absolutely accurate. But that doesn't excuse making a trade. That doesn't mean, well, oh, no, we're not gonna worry about making the playoffs or not. We're just gonna focus on this. We're gonna focus on setting that baseline level of competition. Okay, great. If you haven't set that yet, then what are you doing making a trade, giving up your future pick, right? If your goal right now is just establishing the foundation upon which your future is going to be built, that's great. That's fine. Right? But if you don't feel like you're a playoff team, don't give up a lottery pick, what could wind up being a top pick in the draft for next year to go get Derek Queen. Because I'll tell you what, it does set inherently, making that kind of move, regardless of what Joe Dumars says, it sets expectations. And it sets expectations in one of two ways, and frankly, probably both ways. Number one is that you're going to be a playoff team because nobody wants to give up a lottery pick. Right, in order to move up 10 spots in the draft. And number two, Derek Queen better pan out, right? Those are the expectations, because if he doesn't, and you give up a lottery pick, he's always going to be known as that guy that the Pelicans made that huge mistake in order to go get. So that's the issue here when we're talking about Joe Dumars deflecting the question, saying, oh, no, that's not the expectation. Our expectation is we're going to compete on a night in, night out basis. It's more of a long term. We're not looking at this short-sighted view here. Well, true, right? Long-term view, absolutely. Yes, you have to set that level of compete. But if you don't want to set a short-sighted view, then don't make short-sighted moves like trading away your next year. There's a reason why most of the NBA looked at this move and said, what the hell is he doing? Again, if Zion Williamson is healthy, things will be looking up in New Orleans. If Zion Williamson is healthy, they're going to win more games than people expect. But that's been a big if, and more often than not, that's not been the case. He looks great right now, and I hope he does stay healthy because he's a phenomenal talent. But Joe Dumars saying that focusing on making the playoffs this year is a short-sighted goal simply because they gave up that pick, or focusing on it simply because of the optics of giving up that draft pick. I hate that response. Again, If you don't want to have short-sighted goals, and believe me, that is admirable, but then don't make short-sighted moves. Everybody give me your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe right here to the channel. And do you believe, can the Pelicans be a playoff team if, big if, Zion Williamson can stay healthy? Again, give me your thoughts in the comment section. Until next time, everybody. See ya and stay safe.